Hello there. Today I will be giving you guys a quick tour of some very basic features of NetworkX, a powerful Python-based package used for analysis and computation of data that can be made to be represented using graphs. For this video, I would assume that you are familiar with basic Pythonic syntax and that you have already downloaded NetworkX on your local machine. If not, you can refer to the product's official documentation for guidance regarding installation and the problems that might arise therein. Now, according to the same documentation, NetworkX is used by physicists, biologists, mathematicians, computer scientists, and social scientists, but I would like to contend that anybody can really use this simple tool. So we will remind ourselves quickly that a graph is essentially a bunch of nodes connected by a bunch of lines called edges. So after you have your notebook open, the typical first thing you want to do is to access the NetworkX module using the import statement. If you want to be able to visualize your data, there's this library that you can use, matplotlib.pyplot, and let's call that PLT. If you want to be able to visualize your data, your graph, on the same page that you are right now, you simply use matplot inline, and that would take care of it. Okay, so I'll go ahead and create a new graph object using the nx.graph with a capital G. Let's name that G. As of now, my graph is empty, so we're going to use a bunch of methods to add some nodes. The first one is going to be add node to G, and we can call that, let's call it Berea College, which is where I study. Alternatively, you can say add nodes from, and this needs to be an iterable container. So let's say, I don't know, an X range between 1 and 10. So these are the two basic methods that you can use to add nodes to your graph. There's also removing nodes, which is quite similar. So you can say remove node. So let's go ahead and remove the node that we just created up there. And as you might have guessed already, again, there's another method that removes a whole bunch of nodes. And here you can really use anything that is iterable. So you can say this or 2, 3, and it will remove the nodes. Okay, so there's also methods for adding and removing edges to your graph. So for example, you can say add edge, my graph add edge, and this adds an edge between two nodes, which is why it takes as arguments 2 nodes. So let's say 5 and 100. So it adds an edge between these 2 nodes. If you want to reverse that, you can say G remove node, remove edge, 5 and 100. You can also say add edges from, which again was the same format. So we're just gonna comment it out. Let's not forget remove edges from, which would work the same as above. Another interesting feature that NetworkX has is the fact that we can add edges that are weighted, which is really an attribute of the weight. So we can say add weighted edges from. Again, this argument needs to be iterable. So let's create a list, and then there's tuples of list there. Let's say between node 0, node 1, add an edge that has a weight of 3, or between 1 and 4, add one that says 7.5. Okay, let's close that here. Okay. So this adds weighted edges, which is an attribute of the edge. Last thing I want to show you before we get into drawing this graph is add a path. How to add a path. You can simply say add a path and then provide a list for it. Let's say 1, 2, 3. It will add a path from 1 to 2 and then from 2 to 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and draw this, which would be using this syntax. And if you want to be able to see the labels, you'll simply say with labels equals true. Let's also use our plot library. So let's say plot draw and show. So let's see what this does. Okay, so we get an error. I think there's something. Oh, something is wrong. Here, I found it. Okay, so you can see our graph here. We added a node Brea College, but then we removed that, so Brea College is not here anymore. But we have a path between 1, 2, and 3. So we can see here 1, 2, 3. There's a path, and then we also had another edge from 1 to 2, and then from 2 to 3. So we have paths here. So yeah, this is some very basic NetworkX API that you can use to create and manipulate graphs. Thank you for watching.